Rule change season we are currently in. People are pitching different rules. I believe there has been 6 that have been made public. Here's one. To amend the current playoff seeding format and allow wildcard teams to be seeded higher than division champs if the wildcard team has a better regular season record. So this is obviously from the Lions, because if you do recall, week 18, game 17 for the Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, were between 2 teams that if they won the game, they'd be the number 1 seed in the entire NFC. And if they lost, they'd be the 5th overall seed. So now all of a sudden there's a lot different path to the Super Bowl just because somebody in your division is also having a number 1 overall team league seat. I don't know if they're going to be able to pass this one just because the success of the playoffs. I think the numbers and TV ratings that the playoffs get just right now are absurd. So I think it's going to be tough to get it passed, but I do understand where they're coming from, AJ Hawk.
Yeah, like you said, it does seem like this one would be tough to actually go through. But yeah, I get it. I understand why you would propose this. But yeah, I think more of the rule type changes are the things that you have a better chance to make some change.
And teams from crappy divisions are like, we're not voting for that. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
exactly. We got a home playoff game? Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, no, yeah. We understand. Okay, must be nice, Detroit. You remember when you were us? Yeah. You remember when you were us? That will be said in the meeting room, but I do understand where they're coming from their perspective. Let's go to the next one here. To prohibit an offensive player from pushing a teammate who was lined up directly behind the snapper and received a snap immediately after the snap. This is from the Green Bay Packers. We're done with the tush push. We are done with the tush push. There is precedent now for this rule in this play to potentially be amended a bit. During special teams, it used to be that linebackers would get their hands, both of them, one on the left butt cheek of a D tackle and one on the right butt cheek of a D tackle. And said D tackle would weigh 360 pounds. And linebacker would be pushing D tackle through shoulders or chest of long snapper after he snaps the ball. And then linebackers trying to jump up and block the ball. Then people evolved, and it would be 2 D tackles, cockeyed, like you're pizza slicing your skis, okay, both facing this way. And then the linebacker would have right hand on left ass cheek and then left hand on right ass cheek of other D tackle and would be pushing 700 pounds sometimes, 600 pounds onto either guard or long snapper for field goal blocks. Boom, and then trying to jump up, and obviously the guard would actually die slowly, which is the name of the technique. Like you're going to die, just die slowly as these 2 gigantic humans are being aided by a linebacker who's pushing it. So they did get rid of that. There is no pushing anymore. There's no hands on cheeks, I believe is the way it's kind of wrote out. So there is a chance that they can say precedent on the defensive side has been set about pushing and what's player safety and what's not player safety and how much pressure and force and weight can be dropped on somebody. But I think too many football people in the room will say, it's quarterback sneak. So you just got to stop it or shut up in the entirety. How do you think it goes, AJ Hawk?
I don't think you stop this. And I don't see why you even try to stop this. Like, if you can do it, like your offense can do this as well. I know the Eagles seem to find a way to run it better than everybody else, but are you just saying, hey, this is unfair? You can't say this is a player safety thing. Like, I understand you can argue player safety for pushing the guards and killing the center and the guards on the field goal, but here, like, what kind of player safety can you claim?
Well, Chris Jones got hurt kind of during the Super Bowl where he screwed up his neck, and you could say, well, that's on him because he's
got 1,000 pounds of force.
The lineman at the bottom of the pile.
Whatever any football person is not going to publicly say, we want to get rid of the quarterback sneak. I don't think they'll go on the record. That's what I don't know if you have to, but I don't think anybody will go on the record and say, I'm not anybody. I don't think a majority of football people will go on the record and say that they want to ban this particular quarterback sneak. In my eyes, I just think that's going to be tough to hear people say. Go ahead.
Yeah, like that particular one. That's what I was going to say. Like you could still make the argument for the Eagles. Well, we still have an advantage at quarterback sneak because of the fact that Jalen Hurts, squats 500 pounds rather, but not having that push from behind. And then they'd obviously have to do it for defense too, because the defense is towards the end of the season, or I guess the entire season, to counter the tush push. They're pushing D linemen. They're just not getting the push that the Eagles are getting.
What an interesting thing. What an interesting predicament here. And the Green Bay Packers are leading it up. They're not doing it by themselves. They've obviously heard from other people to think about doing it as well.
But I also don't understand because they don't do this a whole bunch. But towards the end of the season, like they were using Tucker Kraft, they'd move him in motion and he'd take a snap and they would do the tush push with him. And they were very successful with it. So it's not like they haven't been doing it at all. I more so was thinking like, well, they got burned so many times on fourth downs, like at the end by the Lions and by like these playoff teams that they can't stop it. So maybe they're thinking that. But yeah, I don't understand how you can use a player safety thing when so many teams do this, and very rarely do we see guys get hurt because of this.
Ugh. Eagles just got it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You just have to learn it. You got to find a way to run it with your offense. Whether it's put a tight end, put someone else, motion them in. I don't know.
So what is it? 1st and 9 then? Okay.
Basically.
Is that what we're doing? That's what
well
somebody's
change
saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you got 3 plays to get 9 yards. Oh, are we Canadian football now? Is that what we're doing? We're doing CFL rules, 3 downs? Okay. So we're saying we're just giving first downs away now? That's what we're doing? Yeah. Well, not everybody. It seems like the Eagles have a little better percentage than your team. Oh, shut up.
Bills.
I'm pretty pumped to see the selling and what actually gets passed. This one doesn't feel like it's getting passed this year, But maybe a lot of these rules, they kind of.
What can you say though? What can you say? Hey, this is not fair. Like this isn't like. What's your argument? I don't get it.
It's a boring play. It's not football. This is rugby. Like, what are we playing? That's what somebody was saying.
Yes.
Just like the main argument for the extra point was, it's boring. This play sucks.
Yeah.
So, too successful. Need to figure it out, or we're going to get rid of it. And then they were like asking around the league, come up with ideas. And I heard one ownership group wanted to propose a 60-yard extra point. A 60-yard extra point. Just go out there, just you and a little stick, 60 yards.
That'd be awesome.
You get 5 points if you make it?
Nope, just one. It's 1 point. It's an extra point.
Play music.
Yeah, well, that's when,
Would be like-
once I heard that was an idea.
Oh, yeah.
Once I heard that was an idea, that's when I really...
The stage.
Okay, so we are... Okay, so we're exploring the space here.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming up with some ideas. Yeah, stage, smoke,
Yeah.
music. For 1 point, can Adam Vinatieri hit this kick from a spinning stage? You just gotta sit there.
Spinning stage. Oh.
Missed it.
I'd watch.
Yeah.
Every time.
Trying to make it exciting. I mean, when I heard a 60-yarder for 1 point was being pitched, I'm like, oh, so we're trying to make this like a show. Okay. Okay.
I can do this.
Yeah, I like what we're thinking. And I'll be honest, Adam was not happy with my suggestions.
Sure.
He asked me why I make a mockery out of it. Why don't I respect the game?
Whoa.
And why don't I appreciate the game? I'm saying I'm trying to keep the foot in football, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I'm trying to keep all 3 phases. I don't want them to get rid of it. And if this is what they're going with, my idea, much more fun. And he goes, you want to see me on a stage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Is he wearing full pads still? Is he?
I want to see him run and set up. Like, can you imagine how tough it'd be?
Clock.
You'd be so anxiety ridden if you're one of the people though that has to run the little spinning stage out there and make sure it works in the moment because you have like
it's on the side of the field. It's on the side of the field. So just like in rugby, if you score on the left side, you have to kick from the left one. If you score on the right side, got to kick from the
It's
right
always
one.
going.
Yeah, that thing's always spinning. It's always,
I didn't know that. Okay, it's even better.
Whole game.
Whole
Wow.
game. That thing's spinning. They'll actually have a counter on how many times.
Yeah.
This thing has spun 985 times thus far.
Does it go faster? Every quarter, it starts spinning a little bit faster. So if you're kicking an extra point in overtime, like that thing, you can barely see the dude.
No, that's like icing the kicker instead of
You can up the speed.
timeout. Yeah, you can up the speed, turn it up, but you can only do it once a game. You can't do it multiple times, so you
wow.
kind of have to pick and choose.
So you fake like with your hand. The head coach has his hand on like the controller, and he's faking like he's going to make you spin faster. And nope, not this time.
Yeah, it
Maybe
depends on
next
how many
time.
timeouts you have too. Like if you have 3 timeouts, you could do multiple things. You could have it spin faster. You could have it vibrate and maybe rock back and forth a little bit.
Okay, so they said that we were making a mockery out of it.
Sure.
And they ended up with a 33-yard extra point. And
Idiots.
I think that has made, a little bit more electrifying. It looked weird for a while because they had the way they sold things on the field was still as if it was extra point. Now, like the field, the business, I think the camera, us as viewers have all kind of adapted to it, and we keep it moving. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get used to this new kickoff setup. You know, like that.
That's going to be tough.
It's a weird setup. It is a very interesting setup, just because in every other play there's a line of scrimmage, you know, and in this one there's 2 of them. So it's just interesting. But they're trying to keep the foot in football, so I respect it. Let's go to the next rule that is being pitched here. To align the postseason and the regular season, overtime rules are granting both teams an opportunity to possess the ball, regardless of the outcome of the first possession, subject to a 15-minute overtime period in the regular season. Okay, so touchdown wins game on first drive. Field goal extends game. So if you hit a field goal on the first drive of overtime, the other team can answer. If you score a touchdown, that's both balls in the cup, brother. That is game over, unanswerable. So I think that's the right move. Just keep it the same as the playoffs.
Yes.
I think a lot of people probably assume it is the same as the playoffs if they had to guess, especially because the Buffalo Bills Kansas City Chiefs situation a few years back. I think this one should pass. AJ, your thoughts?
Absolutely. Keep it the same way. We know that there's players that didn't know the overtime rules between the regular season and the playoffs.
You're right, that mic'd up situations where they're like, what? It's over?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That's game.
Yeah, sorry about it. You now move to week 14. Good luck. Got a must win. Go ahead.
Super Bowl with the Niners. Like, they didn't realize the entire situation with, the Chiefs, where there's that clip of, Mahomes when they're doing the Super Bowl overtime, and they had no idea that the rules were the Chiefs get the ball no matter what, and that was right after it.
Oh, yes, because it is different in the playoffs. Both teams have to get the ball.
Have to.
I don't even know what the counter is. I don't even know what.
It shouldn't be different. Regular season should not be different from playoffs when it comes to any rule, really.
Who's voting no to that? Like, what would be the reasoning to vote?
You can claim player safety, so the game, you don't want a regular season game going 5 hours. Is that what they claim?
No, because it ends in a tie.
That's what they'll say.
But it's the same deal. Then you could just be like, well, then why are we playing on Thursdays?
Well, and then why are we playing for 15 total minutes then?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions.
Why do you extend it with a field goal but not a touchdown? Like, there's really no.
This one passes.
I think so. Congrats to football getting better.
Congrats.
Congrats to what team pitched that?
Eagles.
Eagles. Congrats to the Eagles. Feels like that one's going to pass. Let's go to the next one. Could be wrong. Once again, we are not voters. This is what we're projecting to happen. The Detroit Lions say they want to eliminate an automatic first down as a penalty imposed for defensive holding in illegal contact. They like get their hands on you.
This one's not.
Okay,
I love this.
I'm about sick of us, a little ticky-tack bullshit, and they get to extend their drive all of a sudden. Why? Because we play football? Okay. And now we're letting the refs decide whether or not a call that can be called a lot and kind of just sneak through the rule book, let them decide and have it be another first down. That's what the Lions are saying.
Yeah, I think they were the most penalized secondary in the NFL last year. So they said, we're not going to change the way we play defense. Let's change the rules.
That's not bad. Hey, to be clear, everybody tells us they would play the way we play if they could. Let's let it. Let's let everybody grab everybody. AJ, how do you feel about this?
I think this one might be tough to get through, especially since the Lions are with the most penalized secondary. They were guilty of doing this a lot. Yeah, does that play a factor when they think about voting these rules through? Like, hey, who is proposing this?
Definitely.
Yes.
Just like Cards Against Humanity, we've said it once, we'll say it 1,000 times. When you're playing that particular game, I don't even know if people play it anymore, but you got to play the person. You got to always know the person that is making decisions, the person that is speaking, the person that is giving an opinion. You have to know why that person feels the way they feel. Like Bubba Cunningham. There in North Carolina. All right, anyways. Yes, they will hold that against the line. Somebody will roll out stats, probably. Is this your defense right here? This is our defense. Stop holding our guys. I just paid Jamar and T.
Exactly.
We would like a first down. Yeah, so not going to pass through us. Let's go to another rule change that's being proposed. This one's from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Allowing teams to have direct contact with free agents and set up travel during the negotiating window. That's Monday at noon, as opposed to having to wait till Wednesday at 4. There's this tampering period that has been legalized by the NFL where all these deals are done and the teams are not allowed to physically meet the player during this time. They're allowed to talk to the agent. They're allowed to meet with the agent, not allowed to meet with the player because, once again, that would be too much tampering, too much recruiting, as opposed to just throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at them. You can't meet them in person. I feel like this one gets passed for some reason. I feel like this is a pretty easy one in my eyes, but then they'll have to limit how much travel does each guy have to take and where are the meetings and how the meetings, all that comes into play next, AJ.
Yeah, so are they saying, though, the Steelers are saying we can just set up their travel and we can speak directly to the player during the tampering period, not but they still can't come in and physically come to your facility until the free agent it opens up.
Yeah, they probably just want to, let's get some eyes, hands, conversation. Because you hear stories probably about people. You try to background check. I think they can talk. I think maybe not
to the agent. They can talk to the agent right now. It says right.
There's also not as many direct flights to Pittsburgh, so it's like, hey, we're scheduling this travel stuff. Okay, we got to get a couple of days advance on a lot of people. These Chicago, Atlanta's, Dallas, these big airports. Direct flights, fucking boom. As soon as free agency starts, things scheduled. Okay, let's make it a level playing field.
Pittsburgh was supposed to have so many flights.
They got a brand new airport coming, so hopefully.
Really?
Yeah, they're building a brand new airport.
The last time we got a brand new airport, it came with a deal with what? U.S. Airways?
Yeah.
I think it was U.S. Air.
Oh, nice.
They were going to make Pittsburgh a hub. And then
What happened?
It was for a little bit, right?
I don't know how many years later, they just
Yeah, U.S. Air.
They just
can't
left.
do it.
They just left. So you show up at that airport, and it happened whenever I was gone. Because I would fly back, and it's just like literally full empty terminal, just no planes outside. It's like, hey, this is sad.
That's weird.
This is sad.
Yeah.
But you bank on the deal, the contract, and then somehow it ended up not happening.
Yeah.
And once that takes place, then you start losing. You don't, because for them business wise, how many flights are we gonna like Indianapolis? Super clean airport, nice airport,
Great.
very nice airport, easy to get in and out. Now, is there flights to a lot of places?
Yeah.
We'll get you to a hub. We'll get you to a hub.
Hope you like
The tough thing
layovers.
about the small ones.
Yeah, but they're beautiful. It's a really nice airport. But
And it's cool. Like you can get on and off a plane. Like you can get in and out pretty easily. But yeah, you just gotta take a
Pittsburgh-
40-minute flight to a hub.
Pittsburgh's airport, got Franco Harris right next to George Washington.
Drop
Oh, yeah.
the ball.
Found a country, saved city. That's welcome to Pittsburgh. Let's go to the next rule, shall we? The Pro Football Talk report of 7 teams proposing K-balls to be prepared before the game is one that I heard about back at the Combine.
Okay.
So there were some special teams coordinators from numerous teams. He said 7 in this report. I assume that's how many people actually put their names on it or whatever. I think this is a very much a unanimous, hey, this is what we're thinking. So the K-ball preparation is a lot more of a conversation than people could have ever imagined. So back in the day, you used to be able to bring your own ball to kick, own ball to throw. Everybody just brings their own balls. You play with your own balls, you go home. So the kickers started really experimenting. They started really experimenting on how you get the ball the most beat up. Because the more beat up ball, the further it's going to fly. Brand new ball, more plasticky. It's hard to kind of dent the outer shell and inevitably thrust it as far as you possibly can. So a beat up ball is the best ball you can get. We're talking like 10 yards difference, 15 yards difference maybe.
That much, really?
Between a brand new ball and a very beat up ball. Like, now granted, wind and everything plays in, but like 7 to 15 yards, very much like game changer.
Big deal.
It's a big deal on these broken in balls. So at some point, there's this folklore story that one of the kicker's balls or punter's balls was in for a punt, and then the other team decided to go for it. So the K ball ended up in an actual play. And it was some notable
Favre, right?
maybe Brett Favre. And the ball was so beat up that it was like so like oversized and just like no grip. A pick was thrown, and then immediately there was full fucking chaos about how we got to get these K balls back right away. We got to have more of a thing because it can't be determining outcomes of games because the quarterback can't. So like literally that is like the folk tale. I don't know this is back in like 2000 maybe 1999. So this is way back in this thing. So then they instituted a rule, brand new balls, literally box opened, handed to refs onto the field. I forget I think it was like 3-4 years or something like that. And thank God I did not play during that time. Like that is, I assume if you go back and look at the numbers, terrible. Like I assume not good numbers. So then all the special teams coordinators came around, and then there was an agreement with the NFL where it was like, okay, we'll have K balls, and the equipment managers, while being watched by an NFL official, will have 30 minutes with the 7 balls, and they will be allowed a brush. There's just one spray thing and then a towel. That's all they're allowed to have. So these equipment managers, one from our team, one from another team, will go into a bathroom in the stadium before the game, like 90 minutes before the game. They would have an official watching them. They would start a clock, and they would have 30 minutes to beat up a ball. Okay, 30 minutes to rub the shit out of it, sweat in there, like the whole thing. Our guy would come out drenched We're talking about drenched in sweat. And me and Vinny would be like, my man, thank you, thank you, thank you. Us and other kickers and punters on other teams, we would talk about who the ball rubber is. Who's the ball like, hey, who's your guy? Who's your guy? And they say, we got a guy. He's good. He's new. And we would say, we got a guy. So our guy would get ball 1 because ball 1's going to be in the field the most. Their guy would get ball 2. So then our guy would get 3. So like, then there would be like a plan beforehand, like, hey, is your guy good? And they'd be like, yeah, good guy. It's like, okay, then no conversation needed. Our guy, great. So like, let's let our guy kind of do his thing. And there were 7 balls. Usually only the first 3 balls would make it into a game. The others would be sold for game use, but they never saw the field. So now they're trying to get to a point where it's like, just like the quarterbacks are allowed to prepare their own balls and bring their own balls, and then they get tested at game time, just let the teams bring their own balls, and you can test it at game time. And if it's too despicable or not game ball enough, kick it out. Kickers want the ball hard, not soft. So it's like the air pressure will be there. If it's beat up, you can tell if it's too beat up. Like there were some games back in the day, laces were popping off the ball, and it's like, that would be awesome. Just to have an actual helium balloon. Not that helium would help, that was been mythbuster, but for that big of a thing, like a rugby ball, like an Aussie ball, I mean, the sweet spot gets bigger, the bigger the ball gets. So it's like, that. I think they can do both. I think that's what the special teams people are pitching. Like, hey, just let us bring our own ball. You can test them, and then we just keep it moving. We'll use our balls, they use their balls, and we just keep it moving. So what I'm saying is, something as minute in a lot of people's eyes as the K-balls, this has been a conversation for like decades. And
Crazy.
I think this is the right answer, I think. And we're kind of getting back to where it used to be before. They were putting it in the washer and dryer, putting it in a sauna. Guys were putting the ball in the sauna, obviously.
awesome.
Or beating it up in the sauna so the thing would grow. And then obviously you pump it up as much as you possibly can. It was like they were abuse leads to restriction.
Sure.
And that is potentially what happened there. But they felt as if it was gamesmanship. And that's where we're back at the beginning for the K-balls. Okay.
Great guy, huh?
Why wouldn't they let the kickers and punters have that 30 minutes to do it?
Great question. I don't know. I to be clear, I never asked. I was always like, Frog, my guy.
Yeah, you had a guy, dude.
That's a valuable spot. Very valuable spot.
We would go to teams, and they would say, we got a bad guy. And I'm like, oh, sorry, man.
Ooh.
Sorry.
That sucks.
Because, like, you feel it. Like, whenever we played in London, Walt, the ref, he had ball 7 he was putting ball 7 on the field on purpose. And I'm like, these people actually like us over here. Like, in England, these people actually are, like, they'll cheer a big-time punt. And I get the ball for, like, the kickoff, and it's like, what is this? This is, and I look, it's ball 7. I'm like, why are you doing that to us? Why brand new ball? Somebody snaps one. Let's say little gamesmanship has been done in the past, like a game winner, away game. Ball boy throws in ball 4, as opposed to like ball 3, ball 2. Like one of those situations has happened. And as soon as you catch a snap, it's like, ooh, this is a bad ball. You can literally feel, as soon as you catch it, you can feel it, and it's a game changer. How many of these rules are passed? That's 6 being pitched. What did we think?
K-ball.
2 of them. K-ball passes.
Steelers probably passes.
Yeah, K-ball and
Playoff rule.
Yeah, the
About 3.
Eagles.
So maybe 3 of them. Tampering, visitations.
Oh, yeah, in the overtime.
Yeah, overtime and K-ball. I
That's
think,
it.
I think those 3 will pass.